Hello, friends. Welcome to the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Julie Boyer, and we're doing a very special event for the month of November. Every day, I'm sharing with you a different way to practice gratitude, as November is traditionally known as the month of gratitude. As we spend these last 10 days together, I encourage you to look back on what you've learned about gratitude this month and ask yourself, which of these gratitude practices do I want to incorporate into my life going forward? I do have a favor to ask. If you've been following along over the past few weeks and have gained something from these episodes, would you take a quick moment and give the show a rating? You can give the podcast a 5-star rating through the Apple Podcast app on your iPhone. Or if you're using Spotify, all you have to do is click right on the front screen of the podcast and give it a rating there as well. Thanks so much for taking time to rate the podcast. Now let's start today's gratitude episode. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving day with your family and friends. And today is Black Friday, so I'm going to share with you all my Black Friday specials. Just kidding. I don't have any Black Friday specials. I have a very interesting relationship with Black Friday. On one hand, it feels so out of alignment to go from a day of practicing gratitude to a day where we are fighting for the sale and looking for ways to save money and battling each other out to get the best price on an item that we may or may not need. On the other hand, I recognize that right now is a difficult financial time for many people, and taking advantage of Black Friday sales may be the only way to be putting things under the tree this year or buying much needed household goods and other items. In my business, I don't do Black Friday sales, and the biggest reason is that as a small business, my margins are fairly tight. I don't have the space or the luxury to share a product called a loss leader. What I mean by loss leader is that when you have a product that's on a sale price that is close to your cost and gives very little margin, you use that item to bring people into the store in the hopes that they'll spend more money on other things in your store to make up for the difference. As a small business with only a few items and not a lot of margin, that doesn't make any sense for me. Another coach that I follow mentioned something really important that a lot of coaches and service providers may want to consider as well when preparing Black Friday specials. If people aren't buying your programs the rest of the year, they're not going to purchase only on Black Friday. Or if they do, that means that they're always looking for a discount and will never pay full price for your services. So how do we approach Black Friday with gratitude? That's a great question. I think it's important that we pay attention to how we're treating other people today. Most businesses will have some kind of Black Friday sale, and some of those will be in person, although I know many online companies are also starting their Black Friday/Cyber Monday sales ahead of time. When we are visiting a store in person on Black Friday or throughout the weekend for these sales, it's important that we bring our gratitude practices with us. Leading with kindness first. It can be frustrating if we've decided to line up outside of a store looking for a particular item and when we get there, it's not available. Let's not take our frustrations out on the people that work there. They are doing the best that they can. They are not in charge of how much inventory hits the floor, nor are they in charge of who arrives when in line or how quickly an item sells out. Sometimes treating employees with kindness and gratitude helps us to find what we need after all. I encourage you to be the example. Share your gratitude openly. Stand up for those in service positions that may be harassed or being mistreated by other customers. Be the voice of kindness and gratitude and help to deflate situations by focusing on what is working well instead of what's not working. I know our listeners can lead with gratitude, and I want us to be an example over the next few days on how to show up with gratitude, kindness, and to make the Black Friday shopping experience more pleasant for everyone. This concludes today's gratitude practice. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you take a moment to implement something you've learned today. I have a favor to ask. Would you mind rating and reviewing this podcast? It doesn't matter which podcast app you're using, every rating helps other people to find this podcast and help them make their decision when choosing which podcast to listen to. I appreciate your support, friends, and I'm excited. I appreciate your support, friends, and thanks so much for taking the time to listen and rating the podcast. I'll be back tomorrow with another way to practice gratitude.